Well, good morning. Oh, morning to you too. Hey, it's about 8 o'clock. I'm awake, out of the tent, and I got almost 11 hours of sleep. Wow, I needed that pretty bad. I'm just showing off my tent a little bit this morning. It's kind of, sun's peeking through. It's pretty nice. It's a nature hike, one-person tent, otherwise known as a Spider One. It is just one person. You can see my sleeping bag and sleeping pad in there. And there's some extra room for all my gear. Everything fits in there just fine. I forget the exact specs. You can look it up. It's like 7 feet long by 38 inches wide, 37, whatever. But it's nicely vented. It worked perfect. I'm right here, like literally in the water on the squishy ground. We'll see how that goes. Bottom, but I mean, no moisture inside. But it worked out well, even on the slopey, lumpy tent pad, if you can call it a tent pad. So far, first night in this tent, and I thought it was great. I slept like a rock. No moisture, condensation, anything like that. Pretty happy with it so far. It's only about 80 bucks on from Nature Hike's website. It's actually a very affordable tent. It's got one little roof peak vent. Came with some cheap stakes, but they're aluminum at least, so I just used them. Other than I added a little heavier stake. This tie out my wife added, and one at the other end, because that end panel is not it's flat the way it comes, and that thing is it just sort of flops there, so I wanted to be able to stretch it out, so that worked out great. Other than that, only other modifications I did is the straps for the vestibule, which it has a fairly large vestibule here, as you can see. It's normally just had this strap. I just actually had my wife shorten this, and I added a carabiner and a piece of cord with a knot I can slip. In this case, I'm not even using a stake. The stump is in the way, so I have it hooked on this sawed-off branch thing here. Worked out good. Couldn't figure out any other way to get a stake in here. I already had it all set up. It's one of the last things you do, of course, and like, well, I'm not moving, not resetting up the tent. Worked out well. There isn't really any other options. I could have moved it a couple inches here and there, I guess. But yeah, this side here I did the same. This came with a longer strap. Shortened it up and put a piece of cord on it, and just have a stake. And I did change these two stakes. I have two of these tri-wing stakes for the ends. They're a little more torque. Yeah, it worked out great. Good ventilation. I actually can see underneath that flap. Get myself a little view of the lake. A quick little map update I figured this morning, since I didn't get a chance to do that last night. This is a Mackenzie map. I normally use Fisher, but I've got some Mackenzie maps of the Kekekabic Trail, and I kind of like them. I got some other trails too, but this is number 7, Tuscarora. Again, Mackenzie maps. So right here is the trailhead. This purple line is the the Gunflint Trail, excuse me. And right here is the trailhead for the Kekekabic Trail East. So I came up here. I've drawn in the Gunflint Lookout Tower Trail. That was not on there. I've also drawn in the Centennial Trail, which was not on this map originally either. And so I entered over here. I hiked this way. This is a Bingshik Lake, where I stopped at those 2 campsites and portaged over to Honker. And then followed it through Glee, around Fay, around War Club, that horrible river crossing, around here to Seahorse, and that horrible flooded section along this lake here. That's really bad. And I went this way through here to Howard Lake. And this is where I'm camped right now. I would give it a 1 star minus. Second worst campsite I've been at in the Boundary Waters of any kind. But it served me well. It's alright. It's quiet, it's private, worked out good. Now my original plan was to continue on to Kekekabic and get over here to Kekekabic Bridge. There's a bridge across a river and a waterfall right here. I've seen it before on a canoe trip. This is a popular canoe route through here, up to Kekekabic, up here. But I've changed my mind. The trail is so wet, and there are some swamp crossings, especially in this area here. It's notorious for being wet, even in normal times. I can only imagine this thing is completely underwater, and I'm not really sure if I want to do that. The other compounding factor is that now, today's Tuesday, the weather forecast has changed significantly. There's some chance of rain Wednesday night and showers on Thursday, but now it has changed to heavy rain Wednesday night and Thursday. Sounds like all day. So I don't really want to camp in heavy rain, not necessarily, and have to hike this trail in heavy rain. So I think what I'm going to do is, instead of going on here to Kekekabic Bridge, I think because I'm just doing a yo-yo here, I'm going back out anyway. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to head back today. I can take my time and not have to fight with all this so fast. I might try to find a way to bushwhack around this bad section here. And then I'm just going to go back to BWCA here and camp one of these two sites. They're both nice. And then tomorrow I can get up and I'll have most of the day without rain. I can go back this way and I can explore. Maybe what I'll do is I'll explore Mine Lake a little more, or I'll take the Centennial Trail, or I'll go up and I'd like to walk up to the lookout tower. That's another possibility. So, well, crack of 10, I'm finally breaking camp, headed back toward BWCA. Just started walking. One thing I'm doing a little different, I got one of those river crossings. There were so many side hills I was walking on, muddy side hills with flooded water. I grabbed this beaver stick off a beaver dam, all peeled, cut the knob off the top, and been kind of using that to brace myself in these water crossings. I don't know, I'm just carrying it now. I might as well bring it back. And pack layout, one thing I've never really talked about much is I have a small water bottle right here. It's just a Arizona tea bottle. Over here on this side, I carry my camera in a little bag here. I start out with a empty liter there bottle, and I have a full, I don't know if this is showing up on camera, back here on this side I have a full liter, and that's how I start out. And I'll run out of water before I get to camp sometimes, and I'll have to stop and get some, and sometimes I can make it all the way to the next camp depending how far it is. Today I'll probably have to stop and get some. Like I said, trying to stay hydrated is the tough part out here. Yeah, here's the river running down the trail. Pretty wet. That stuff isn't too bad. You can kind of get around that okay. It's when there's a big rock cliff right here or something that becomes a problem. I just noticed my way in, I missed it on the way in. There's actually sort of a tent pad right here. A little squishy right here, but a little birch tree growing up through the middle of it, tiny one. But yeah, this would have worked pretty good too for a tent pad, I think. So we'll take the minus off the campsite rating, then we'll call it just a 1 star. Yeah, I just noticed the weirdest thing. As I came in, I noticed it was my left leg and foot that seemed to be under stress. And now this morning walking, it's my right. Well, it's because this trail 10 miles as I came in, most of it is on the north shore of a lake. And so you're walking with your one leg lower down than the other. There's very little actual flat trail. Most of it's like this, you see. So your one leg is kind of down, doing a lot more work. That's funny, actually. Never really noticed that. Yeah, this trail Like right now, before leaves are fully out, you can kind of see that they're budding now in the sunlight a little bit. Oh, trip over a rock. But once these raspberries and alders and little birches and stuff all get fully leaved and this grass grows up, there's gonna be it's gonna be hard to see your feet in here. You can see all the dead ferns laying here too, so I'm sure this is pretty darn thick in June through October, late September anyway. Just on the west end of Seahorse, this is it. Walking this big beautiful ridge, follows this channel which heads toward Howard. There's cairns and big boulders. But go up on this ridge, and then just around the corner here, point with my protein bar here, just around the corner this thing plunges down and follows that flooded lake all the way around. You can see what would normally be grass out here is flooded with water. Beavers must have that lake really dammed up. Yeah, I mean, all those spruce trees are flooded and such. So I'm gonna have to decide here if I wanna, what I'd like to try to do instead of bushwhacking around every spot I can, maybe I should just try to stay on this ridge and bushwhack through this stuff. It isn't too bad. There's a few burnt logs yet. Trees aren't too bad. I can see my feet well, and just stay out of that whole thing until I get to the end of Seahorse, and then try to climb down the hill here. It'd be about this steep down the hill back to the lake and the river crossing there. We will see. Yeah, it's about as tough as I thought it would be getting through this stuff. There's spots where it's just, you know, some rocks like this, you can find a spot to pass through. Then to get up through there, I get over that log and around up there, and then there's that rock face. I can't climb up it, so I'd have to work my way back up here. I made it, oh, 1/10 of the way maybe so far up here. It's not very easy though. I don't know. See how it goes. So far so good, I guess. Well, one of the benefits of bushwhacking up here is this amazing view. This is Seahorse Lake. Off there in the distance over there is French Lake. I've canoed through there before. There's some really nice rocky bluffs. Seems like, I might be wrong, but it seems like there's a campsite on top of one of those big rocks. I think that's on French. I don't remember, I'll have to look it up. One of those lakes in that string anyway. Wow, the trees have really grown back. When I went through there before, it was, the French, it was just still bald and bare, tiny little sticks. And that big opening on the other side is Gabby, and Gillis is off over that way, and Little Sag is that way. Pretty nice. It's a heck of a climb. The trail isn't too bad to about that dead white pine. I mean, it's up and down, whatever, but then you have to climb up here, and because the trail is literally in the lake through that section. I bushwhacked like on the vertical side hill with my 1 foot in the water on the way in. I'm gonna try to avoid that and see if I can keep going. It's getting thicker and rockier, so hope I can make it. Definitely one of the things you want to do when you're bushwhacking through country like this is to wear your safety glasses. Boy, it'd be a tough tough trip out of here. The stick in the eye. Oh, yeah. Making it though. We'll see. It'd be kind of nice if the trail could be relocated up here. It'd be nice just for the view, and it'd actually be sort of a shortcut too, instead of following the curve of that lake. Pretty nice once you get to the top. Yeah, basically what I've done here is it's hard to see through my plastic case, sorry about that. When I got to the edge of the lake, I climbed the hill, I followed the ridge. I'm right up here now on the highest point from what I can tell. And big flat open spot, and there's actually a cairn up here. And now all I have to do is just take a compass reading and head straight northwest or northeast, and I should intersect the trail at that water crossing. This first section was particularly flooded, so I want to stay up here as long as I can, and that should work. Way up here in the top, look how high up I'm 100 feet above the lake at least, maybe more. A big bald spot. There's an old tumble down cairn over there, and there's one right here. This top rock was falling off, but I stacked it back on top. So somebody's been up here before. Kind of interesting. Maybe I'm not the only one to try to bushwhack around this mess. Be a great place to relocate the trail. I'll tell you what, this would be really nice. When you get close down here, you can hear the sound of moving water. That's the stream crossing you have to take where the trail turns and goes along Seahorse the other way. So the lake is right there. Also a good landmark is there's a little grove of spruce that have survived the fire right down here at that, and you can see it from the top of the hill, so pretty good landmark. But going back down was not easy. Going up was pretty easy, but down there's a lot of boulders and one really big cliff you got to go way around. But I'm almost there. I'd say in general it was worth it. And here's I'm pretty sure it's Club River. So it's obscured on my map a little, but it's more Club Lake. But it's pretty. Fortunately, the river is really high, a little higher than it was before, yesterday even. So I got out of this rock. There was one sort of stick in there already. I added a few more of the dead sticks that were kind of laying right over there. It must have blown out an old bridge-like thing, because there's a bunch right there that are sort of cut off. And I threw them between that rock and that rock, so that, because I can climb out there, I can 1 foot on that rock, get onto that one, go across the, 1 foot on the sticks very carefully and get over onto that rock, and then big stretch over to this one. And it worked. Kept my feet fairly dry. But I see today, just in one day, with no rain, this rock here now is mostly underwater, but that's all right. It's not, as long as it's not too slippery, it should work out fine. Let's see if I can make it back across. I'm going to sit right here by the river, by this blown out beaver dam. Kind of loud, I suppose, all that roaring water, but kind of nice, tranquil, nice cool spot right down here. I'm going to have a Spam single on a tortilla. Unfortunately, I forgot the Arby's sauce. That's my favorite thing to put on there, but I'm just going to eat it cold. I have a piece of foil in there. I can cook it in a fire if I'm somewhere where I can have a fire, but I'm not. So. And that's the hill out of here. So I'm going to eat. I'm hungry. A trip note. Right here on the north shore of War Club Lake is the trail comes from the west from that way. There's a big flat open rock. It looks like a campsite. It's so nice. And then right 20 feet away is this puddle of water right here on top of the hill, where it's actually flowing that way. I think there's another flat rock spot, it looks like, open up there. So if you need an emergency campsite on War Club Lake, this wouldn't not work, put it that way. I'm high above Fay Lake here right now. I'm pretty sure way in the distance there, right there, I don't know why my camera won't focus. On that rocky point with the trees on it is the Bushwhacking Lake campsite that I'd like to get to. What a beautiful day. Well, just my luck. In that short amount of time, it took me from Fay Lake to Bushwhack here, where I got a view of this campsite. Some canoers have moved in there. 2 canoes, they're setting up their tent. I have no idea where they came from. They must have been out in the lake while I was walking along it, I guess. So, luckily this other site here in Bushwhack is open. The big open one, that's not as nice. This has nice access to the water, I guess, but there just aren't any trees in the campsite. But it's good enough for me. Yeah, really nice access to water. This is the trail right here. The trail just continues that way. So I'm gonna go up here somewhere. There's a big open fire grate in the sun right now, but I think I'm gonna take this tent pad right here. Just sitting here admiring my tent. Actually, not really. No, I'm just sitting here relaxing a little bit. I've got my boots off. Sitting over here, got my waters all filtered. Got my cook kit and fuel ready to go, and my food. And in a little bit here, I'm gonna make some dinner. I went and cut some firewood. It's not even 5 o'clock yet, or pretty close to 5. Doing really well here. Got a nice little shady spot. Absolutely wonderful. Couldn't be nicer right now. I'm just getting ready to eat some food here. And I thought I'd do a really quick rundown of my cook kit here. It's a little bit different. This one, it's just a micro cook kit I put together using a Imusa 0.7 quart aluminum pot. And again, same thing, my fancy bud stoves I make, you know, aluminum ground sheet, aluminum windscreen, cozy. It's just like my titanium one. That's a 900 milliliter. This is about 6 something, and I don't have an extra cup in it, but I do have the same aluminum 25 ounce cup that I made out of a beer can that I use for my others. But this one weighs a few ounces less. I mean, it's about 7 ounces for the whole cook kit, including a lid for the cup, a little fuel measuring cup, a backup alcohol stove, mini Bic lighter, and a spoon with a wooden handle. I like to do that, so it all fits into one unit. So 7 ounces, not bad. As I'm sitting here getting ready to eat, some guys came up, and I can hear them. They'll probably be on their way soon. They need a campsite, and since that one's taken, I volunteered to let them stay here since it's just me. So they're pretty happy, and it's going to be an interesting night.
So on the difference on the zipper between the old one and the new one is the old model, the zipper went all the way around the end. So this, he actually put 4 zippers on this instead of just one continuous zipper. And then to keep the bugs out, he's got this little elastic thing that goes on the end.
Oh, I see. Well, this is George, by the way. He's giving me a tour of a Eldorado hammock, new one.
Yeah, War Bonnet Eldorado, brand new, first time I've ever
material. I'm getting a little lesson on a hammock setup. I would consider this less than ideal conditions, but in these burn areas, you got to get by, I guess, with what you got.
Especially when you don't have a campsite and there's a nice guy like Brian that says, hey, you want to share? Because we were SOL with campsites, and we're going to camp somewhere in a bunch of brush. And he popped over and offered to share. Thank you, Brian.
No problem. Yeah, this is a cool. I'm getting quite an education here in hammock. I got to lay in the Blackbird XLC over there. That was pretty sweet. I like it. So I got Lilith, yep. George you already talked to, and Jake. Got it. All right. Here. Jacob or Jake?
Either or.
Okay.
If you want to save some syllables, Jake's good.
Well, these guys are getting set up here. Hammock's back there. Lilith's got a tent right up there. And they look like they're really getting ready to have some fun here this week.
We're gonna hopefully get something to eat.
We've already been having fun. It's just difficult fun.
Yeah, we had some difficult fun
Yeah.
today, didn't we?